Hello and welcome back to another episode of Under the Floorboard. Today we are joined with my host Steven McKaveney and our guest who is a property investor, business owner as well, Tony Carrigan. Thank you very much.
Thank you boys.
Perfect. So I guess I don't like going through the whole route of tell us how you get started, but I guess it's a good point to start off if anybody's not really heard your story, but like obviously I know you're a business owner, like we know you. So it's obviously quite easy to say, but like where did property come into it? Because you've obviously got your business there as well. So if you can take us back slightly to the beginning, but
slightly.
I don't want to hear about your primary school now.
No, I work full time, obviously, as you know, and property's just been something I've always been interested in. My mum and dad done it growing up, so I've always had a wee kind of inclination of what happens with it and stuff like that. And like they retired a wee bit earlier, so it's something I've always wanted to do. And then I think it was a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I just decided to take the jump and go myself. I could have got into it with a few other people, but I just decided, let's go and get a wee bit of education and then just jump 2 feet in basically. And that's where that's basically what I do with everything, obviously to a certain extent, but that was kind of 2 feet in. First deal was a cracker, and I'll obviously tell you about it, but aye, that's just basically where how I started.
What were you doing before that?
So just doing what I do now, still I sell vans, so work my van sales company over in Paisley, still doing that, enjoy it. So I'm a sales manager over there, it's a family run business, so I'm always sales orientated, I've always been like that, so I've been doing that, 12 years now.
Do you think that side of it helps with the
100%,
like negotiation
100%. And it helps with deals and stuff like that as well. So you're negotiating and stuff like that with deals, it's massive. Like I'm learning every day, like sales every day, because it helps the property side of things as well. It's massive in property. That's what I always say that to people reach out to me who are just getting started in property, and I'm like, sales is massive. If you get a bit of sales knowledge, then you'll go far in property as well. You'll find amazing deals and stuff like that, because it's helped me massively. And it's when you strip it back and think like how people say, how did you find that deal? And I'm like, it's all about negotiation. Everything's about negotiation. See, in life, everything's about negotiation. So you having sales, a sales background, it's like I'm negotiating with my 5-year-old daughter, you know what I mean? And that's sales, you know what I mean? She's better than me at it, you know what I mean? Because I give in to her. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. Sales is massive. So every day I'm just, I was talking to the producer there before we came in, I'm now getting more sales training for myself, you know what I mean? I'm paying a few quid for it, but just try to better yourself every day. So, and as I said, doing one thing will benefit the other as well.
I think people used to get caught up on sales and they would think you'd pitch up with a pinstripe suit on and you went in and you jammed your finger and your foot in the door and you were like, this is it.
Well, that was old school, wasn't it?
Aye, but it's more about character and more about if you show your own personality.
People say to me, like, obviously I sell vans, and people say, oh, you're a car salesman, and people just think car salesmen just rip the piss out of everybody, you know what I mean? Whereas I'll actually tell people up front, I'm like, mate, I'll be honest with you, because if there's a problem with this van, it's a problem for me as well, which I don't want. So I said, I don't hide it, I'll be honest with you. If the van had an engine management light or something, I'll tell you they know that we'll get that sorted. So people are just like that, but then they take to you, like, people buy for people, you know what I mean? That's one thing I've took as well. So if you're genuine with somebody, it works for me, because it's always up for me. I'm no this, this has got that, let's get that, let's get this, let's get that, because people who's coming to buy a van, they know what the van's got basically. So I don't need to be pushy that way. I'm just genuine and upfront. And same with the property side of things, if you're genuine, transparent with people, it works massively. So
you've done a lot of from single lets to essays and portfolios and everything else, but that first deal you said is an absolute cracker. I have heard this before, but it's see for your first deal, I would like to talk about it. See for your first deal, but like, wow,
I know it's mad,
do you know what I mean?
Looking back, and obviously when the more deals you do, and the harder they're to come by. But again, it's just getting round the right network, isn't it? That's how I found that deal. I was in a network, and somebody passed me the lead. Had no clue what I was doing. Just, as I said, just jumped in with 2 feet. Had money sitting. I think I had like 25 grand or something like that. And then somebody passed me the lead, saying, "There's a lead. Boy doesn't want to go to the auction. If you buy it." If you buy it, but just buy me a beer, basically. So that's basically, I went and viewed it. It was tenanted.
One of the cheapest sourcing fees out there.
I know.
Exactly.
Phenomenal.
A beer.
You know many of the guys.
Still not even bought my beer yet. So I went and viewed it. It was tenanted. Had no clue. Didn't even know you could buy tenanted properties at the time. It was that was how far back it was. Guy was there. he told me what he bought it for. He says, listen, I don't want to make any money on this. So the numbers on that, just overview numbers. I've got it for 67 grand. He originally wanted, I think he wanted 70 for it, but we agreed 67. At a home report of 100 on it at the time. So I was like to myself, I started messaging people saying like, is this right? Is this
Can't be right,
this can't be right, you know what I mean?
No giving them the address right
Exactly.
enough.
No chance, no chance.
I've got a house
So
somewhere.
it's on this street.
Somewhere in central Scotland.
So I was like to Nicole, my missus, I was like, sure, there's something not right with this. There can't be.
Where's engine management like? Where is it?
Exactly. Where is that? You know what I mean? I'm checking on the back, up the roof. But the tenants were brilliant. They were lovely. The rent was a bit low as normal with tenanted properties. And then so 67 grand I bought it for, 100 on the home report. Bought it in a bridge. I was 25 grand in to buy it. Fees, bridging the lot, exits the lot. Refinanced it within 2.5 months. I got my money back. All I done was put a new boiler in it and fixed the shower screen. So I spent 2.5 grand on it. I think I was all in for like 26 grand or something like that. I think it was the round numbers. It's mad, but because you forget the numbers because it was that far back, you think you would know it. But it's about 26 odd grand I was in, and I get 20 grand back out it. No, sorry, 28 grand back out it.
I mean, that's incredible. See, your first deal, most people's first deal, myself included, is you go like that. Right, if everything pans out and I do this and I do this, I'm going to make 3.5 grand out of this. Yep. And I'll get all my money back in about 7 years. Right? But it must be a, hang on, am I doing something wrong here? There must be like a worry.
You're waiting for something to fall apart.
100%. For the
money's
full time.
back. Nah, somebody's come back. There's tax somebody to pay.
100%. But and the flip side is, well, it's good having a good mortgage broker because they helped me right through the full process at the first one. So as I said, so I was all in for 26 grand and I get 28 grand back out it. So basically it's an infinite return, and somebody's paid me 2 grand to buy that house. You know what I mean? The rent is low. I'm putting it up, but it's at the same time like they're an older couple, they pay every time.
But it's a free asset.
Free asset, if the way you look at it, basically.
It depends.
It's got what, just under 27 grand worth of equity in it, and I got all my money back out. So that's it. For the first deal, I was like, fucking hell, this is mad.
Imagine the first deal goes, you buy me a beer, I'll give you a free house.
Exactly.
And it's an asset that will grow, because rent will not just stay at the number it is, it will increase over time. Like, there's no point in shooting up for whatever it was, say it was like 400 up to 800 straight away. Doesn't do the service to the tenant. They can't afford £400. They're going to fall in arrears. So like, just gradually increase it.
I've said that to the tenant. I've said that we'll just put it up £50 every year, and they're fine with that. So I think we're at 600 now.
And it was for you as well. Does that mean? So
the market rate's 800 as well. So, but that's a good one. That was the first one. Obviously learned massively on it. But you know yourself, like every deal, you just learn something new on it. Every deal, and like the next one was even more of a learning curve for me. You know what I mean? That was up in Aberdeen, but again, it's so you understand what happens there.
That's same guy?
No, different
bag of crisps.
I know. So that was it again. That was another learning curve. But you know, it's like everything else is proper. You're learning every day. Like, I'm still learning now. You know what I mean? I come in here today and I'm listening to a podcast this morning. You know what I mean? Just learning wee bits.
And do you look at, because sometimes I think it's best not to even think about the capital on it, right? It's just appreciating, and you just almost like in the back of your head. But are you looking at it going, I've got 40 grand in that, or are you looking going, cash flow, I'm making £400 a month profit on that?
Well, see, at that time, Stephen's like, everything was like, recycle your money, get as much money as you back out, because that was the one pot you had, let's go again. And to be fair, I say to new investors now, like people come to me and they want to buy deals, they're like, I'll just say that's the best way to do it. Recycle your money at the start and just keep going and just build your pot and just keep going so you get a bit of cash flow. But see now, like I'm almost 3 years down the line now, my outlook's changed massively now. So I'm now about cash flow and good assets and good capital appreciation. So that's my 3 key things that I look for now. And obviously I've changed my strategy as well. I'm not kind of focusing on buy-to-let. I'm more focused on service accommodation, like Airbnbs and stuff like that. It's just night and day with how much you can earn and how good it is and the wee buzz you get, whereas you don't get that with buy-to-let. You know what I mean? So,
and how do you get your how are you getting the property in the first place?
The deals?
Aye.
So I do find majority of them myself, but I will buy off like sources or people who I know or people I work with. You know what I mean? If the deal stacks up, like I'm not just going to just jump into a deal because for the sake of it. I'll do my own due diligence. I'll look through it, and if it fits my criteria at that point in time, then I'll go ahead with it. I've just bought 2 deals off the same person there, and they've worked wonders. But again, the numbers they provided to me with like end values and stuff like that, I done my own due diligence, and I knew the end values were more, basically. And when I've showed them it now, they're like, fucking hell, I wish I charged you more for that. Honestly, it's happened twice in a row. I've showed them, man, I'm about to get another one revalued today. But again, it's just knowing people in the network, surveyors and stuff like that as well. So, and it's been a bit more experienced. I'm not saying I'm experienced at all, but it's knowing people to know your exit and know how much you're getting in the back end when you're buying it is massive.
Do you look at more, is it location wise you're looking at just now, or are you looking at anything?
No, I'm looking at location. So
I've seen some of the deals you've bought and it's been like up here, over there, down there.
Like the ones I bought, like the trade deal I done up north was mental. That one I got through. I don't know if you've heard me talk about that one.
Talk about it anyway.
What is it?
So obviously trade deals is massive as well. I know a lot of people know about trading deals, and I try and say that to people as well. So that's another exit I look at when I'm looking at a deal. Basically, can it be traded on? Can I make an extra 20 grand quickly in and out? So the one was up in Fochabers up north. Came through my Facebook ads. Obviously, I run Facebook ads a lot. So this one came through the Facebook paid ads, and the guy wanted. So I done my due diligence on it. But, I'll tell the full story. So I done my due diligence on it. It's a 3-bed end terrace in a wee quiet town, basically. Never knew anything about it. Didn't even know the place existed, if I'm being honest. So next door sold for 170 grand the year previous, and so I've said to the guy, listen, this is 3.5 hours away. I need to know what you want for this to make it worth my while. And he texts me back saying 50 grand. Right? So I'm like that. So I just replied.
Has he missed a zero here?
No, that's what I done. I messaged back saying, I said, do you mean £50,000? And he wrote, yes. Honestly, mate, put my shoes on. Drove up. Tying
him to get the door.
I'm definitely buying him a pint.
I said to Nicole, I was like, I need to go meet this guy tomorrow. So I drove up Aviemore, stayed in Aviemore that night. Myself was in the guy's living room at 9 a.m, shook his hand, 50 grand. Couldn't, honestly, it was just one of the ones like, this is too good to be true. It's like the first one, you know what I mean? This is too good to be true. But bought it in a bridge. I think I did have like, enough cash at the end, but I was buying something else at the time. And I was like, no, let's just buy it in a bridge. Went through Rapid, completed it in 3 weeks. And then guy was shaking my hand and all that. All I done to that one was spent 2 grand on it, cleared it. It was a bit of a riot inside, cleared the back garden, put it to auction. Bearing in mind, on my way up to buy this property, before I'd even agreed it, I had all my exits in place. I said I could essay it, I could buy to let it, I could flip it, make a fortune, or I could trade it. But it's to me, it's like what's you're going to spend the least amount of time to make the most amount of money on. That's my kind of like get out basically. So with this one, I chose. I spoke to Lewis and John at Prime, and they gave me figures of about 110 to 120 grand. Right, this is when I'm driving up. I'm like, this is mental. I'm in the hotel. Can you
put it
sleep,
down a bit faster? Make change his mind.
So they're telling me
You're
that,
like keep on the phone in case he speaks to anybody else.
and I was speaking to somebody else who she's got an essay up there, and they were telling me numbers, blah blah blah. So I kind of knew in the back of my mind what I was wanting to do. I could have flipped it and probably made an extra 30 or 40 grand, but it's 3.5 hours away. The trade's up there. It's going to be dearer, everything else. So I weighed up every option, got it agreed, cleared it, put it to auction, sold it for another 10 grand. So that was always space of 8 weeks time. Yeah, I get my money back in 8 weeks time. So I could have been in that for 6 months for the flip. But again, so I profited 53 grand on that one.
Like after all fees.
After all fees, the lot. Again, I've done one since, the exact same. You know what I mean? It's mad how they just come up, but that's just getting out there and finding your own deals. Basically, that's my get up. I'm just kind of relentless at trying to find my own stuff, as you know, Sean. You know what I mean? I'm speaking to you a lot about it. I'll try and find my own deals first. Obviously, there's no amazing deals kicking about now. There's a lot of people are sending you shite, but there is ones out there that you'll find yourself. It's just being relentless and just knowing the right paths and speaking to people properly and negotiating the deals. You know what I mean?
And is that what you do? You're just 9 o'clock in the morning, get up, finding what people are sending you, looking for obscure stuff.
Obviously, I work full time as well, so I do it at night. I've got 2 kids. I'm married as well, so the wife sometimes kicks off a wee bit. You know what I mean? So I need to kind of rein it in a wee bit sometimes, which is fair enough. So I try and do wee bits and bobs in the morning. I'll do Facebook ads and stuff like that as well. But I'm kind of no time poor now. I'm kind of focusing on my day job now as well, you know what I mean? So try to get views and stuff like that. So I work with different sources as well, and I say, listen, if you go and view it, you get a buyer, then we'll have the fee, which works well with me. End of the day, everybody's in it together basically. So to answer your question, that's I try and find my own deals first, and I've found absolute crackers myself. And you just need to do that, I think. But a lot of people just jump in and just spend X amount of money on Facebook ads. It's not the way to do it. It's no. You need to learn properly, know the basics. Now I don't know every nook and cranny of Facebook ads. I now get somebody to run it for me, but I've never lost doing Facebook ads. I've never lost a penny there.
I think with ads as well is like what you're saying. People go in, is it right? Facebook ads, they clearly work.
Yeah,
I'm just going to shove a couple grand in a month. That's fine till you get the lead.
Because
Because back to that experience of not even just sales, but even just talking to people, which is obviously sales, just having that conversation.
Because if you're hopeless at that, then there's no point spending that money. You know what I mean?
Like, leads come through, what do I do? Loan them.
Exactly.
Like instantly.
Exactly.
It's just having that conversation over the phone. But then also, to your point, it's about also relationships elsewhere. So you're on your way up to that one, up towards Avonmore. You already know the guys at Prime, so you're phoning them to say, right, what can I get for that? You already know somebody that's doing an essay, trying to get numbers for this. So these relationships you've got
ticking all the boxes as you go. And
exactly.
if that's somebody who's blindsided, who's not in a network or no like that wee bit of experience, they're going to secure that, and that's what they're doing. And then figuring out. Then they don't know what to do with it.
Then they're like,
and then they could
stopped,
then they could be in it for months and months, and then they're losing money. You know what I mean? Whereas to me, like every property I've bought has been on a bridge. It's just in, out as quickly as you can, and to the best way possible. Make the most money as you can out of it, but I think it's people are scared of bridging as well, as you know. Like, a lot of people don't want to buy on a bridge, but I think if the discount's there, which 9 times out of 10, if you're buying properly, it is. If it is there, then there should be no reason why you don't bridge, because you're in and out rather than waiting 6 months.
I think that's the biggest mindset shift that people maybe struggle with to begin with. Because obviously, I think Andy listening to this from the outside looking in, you make it look easy, but we all know it's not. To find those deals that are all money outs and 50k,
100%.
Like it seems easy, but it's not, because a lot of graft in before that. But I think that's the biggest mindset shift that people have is, one, they think it's easy, it's just going to land on their feet and everything else, but then they're scared of like a bridging to make it actually happen.
It's knowing and it's learning as well. Like obviously I come from a sales background, so that helps me massively, like working numbers and everything else. Whereas people who are coming in and they see people doing like these unicorn deals and stuff like that, they think it is easy, but it's far from being easy. You know what I mean? You need to know, you need to have your numbers in the back end worked out. Like I've got one now, which I've just agreed 2 weeks ago. That's an all money out plus 15 grand or something like that. You know what I mean? It's Easco Bride, but I've spoke to that woman for 10 months, you know what I mean? 10 months I've been speaking to that woman. I went to view the property, took my wee girl up with me, and she never turned up. But I never let it go, because I'm end of the day, if you're my salesman, so these things you just don't let go, you know what I mean? I just kept checking in with her. 8 weeks later she came back to me and she said, well, I'll catch you in the new year. 1st of January I messaged her. Bang on 1st of January, honestly.
1 a.m.
Happy New Year. Listen,
Happy New Year.
You up?
Are you up?
I'm outside your door.
That's honestly exactly what I say. So I'm just like, I says, you want to let me come and view the property? She's like, yeah, me and my mum will meet you this day. I got it agreed, and it's all money out plus 15 grand. But
that's amazing.
So the thing is with this one, the downside, it's gone through probate, so it'll be a couple of months in it to wait. But end of the day, I've secured it. It's mine. She keeps in contact with me. I've put her on a solicitor. She's happy. So again, it's just one to bank. I've got another one on legals now as well. I've had legals for 2024. Honestly, this is mad.
At time of recording, 2026. If you listen to this next year, he still might be in
probably will be. You know what I mean? It's honestly, this one's been mental. The guy phones me every Friday. The seller, he's mad for East End, man. He's a good guy, but I just tells me the same stories every day. So that's another one. I've got 2 legals in it. It's the ones that now.
So I was going to say about the mindset stuff as well, but I think when it's one thing having it, trading it on, and having that mindset to be relentless, but then the refurb side of things as well, because obviously you don't just trade them on, you don't just buy ones that don't need work and just a boiler, you buy ones that need a lot of work as well. And as we all know, refurbs can take a real turn for the worse. Like, I know a couple you've had, but is there any that's kind of stuck out to you as being went sideways, probably one of the worst ones? Because that's a big mindset shift to be able to handle that.
Again, I keep talking about it, but it's down to learning. Like, you need to get in and do these deals and do these refurbs to learn to deal with trades, to deal with joiners, to deal with everybody. You know what I mean? It's like the one I done in the East End in Carmyle, that was a massive, that was like a 52 grand refurb, which I dealt with myself. I was in it, I JV'd with somebody, but see just learning the full, for clearing it out, because see when people send you a refurb sheet, right, you'll see it yourself. They don't. Very rarely do they see rip out or clear out. You know what I mean? On it, I'm like, that's like £1,500. You know,
I love seeing it at the very end. It's like, who's doing the cleaning compliance and the certs? I'm like, well,
how much is that?
It's not much, but it's like someone has to pay for it. And then you're right. Like, I love seeing it. Like, we're going to go skimmed. Cool. Who's taking all the wallpaper off?
Exactly.
So plaster's not going to do that.
It's just learning, like dealing with trades. Like I on that one, I gave a lot of my pals the jobs and stuff like that as well, and it's just no great. I had 3 different joiners in that job to finish it. But now I've got my kind of reset team that helped me. Obviously, I've done ones with you, Sean, as well through when I got the portfolio, and now I've got my own set team. I've got some people close to me, but it's just working well, and the numbers, every one of the stuff, the kitchens and stuff like I do now are minted, and the bathrooms and all that guys in and out in 2 days. So it works well, but I had to go through that process of doing the refurbs and stuff like that to get where I am just now.
To be honest, I think that is an experience thing. I think where I've had, especially remote ones, like if you were talking up at Floorboard and stuff, I've had remote ones, and you just assume that like a painter, when he finishes, he's going to take his tins of paint with him.
He's not.
And the wallpaper, and then you go, right, I'll send the cleaner in, and then the cleaner phones up and says, what you want me to do with all this wallpaper tins and like bits
the radials
of
are lying outside, you know what I mean?
There's like hundreds of stuff. You're like, I'm sure the plumber's took them away, and the plumber's like, you never asked me to take them away. That's a bigger charge.
That's how you see so many of these rubbish and waste removals companies coming up now, man, because everybody's using them, you know what I mean? There's so many about now, and to be fair, I sell a lot of them vans, so it works well for me. If I see any opportunity, I'm taking it, trust me, man.
Listen, I've got a strip out you need to do, but listen, you look like you need a new van as well.
It rocks up this old 12 plate tipper, and I'm like, you need a new van, mate. Double whammy.
So just one thing that you were talking about with a mindset there, and you were like your first property, so you landed well on it.
Yeah.
So people are really scared of bridging, right?
Yeah.
And then I think it's like one of the things that at the beginning, it's like, I think probably 10 years ago, you're like, don't ever do bridging. It's the worst thing ever in the world. But now once you get into it, I presume you're like, actually, it's just easy. It's just a quick way of getting money really quickly. But if you'd had a bad property, do you think your mindset would have changed? Or
see, to be fair, my second one was quite bad. You know what I mean? It wasn't all. I left like 18 grand or something in the deal. So
proper I mean, that's still decent, but it's a contrast to what you had the first time.
100%, and it was in Aberdeen. So again, it wasn't a bad deal overall. Obviously, the loan to values are way down on it now. So yeah, you weigh it up, cash flow, loan to value, stuff like that. So in Aberdeen will come up soon, but will come back up hopefully. And once it does, that one's getting punted as well as the other one I've got there. So but it's just sticking in the game and basically and just riding with the waves, I think, with stuff like that. But the one with my second deal wasn't never went as smooth as I thought it would anyway. I bought it when I was on holiday. Somebody sent me and I was half cut, man. I was like, let's go for it, man. My second property deal.
A few cocktails in, like, mate, I know how to do this all morning.
Exactly. Sounds like old fashioned. You're like, bye.
That's exactly what I've done. But again, it's all part and parcel. It's experience, isn't it? And again, it's put me down. I wouldn't buy up in Aberdeen anymore. So I was saying that my third one I bought was Aberdeen, but but again, it's what it is. It's learning. I learned a lot again for driving up and down to there constantly. I think I was up and down there every second week, man. It was mental. But again, it's dealing with the refurbs and stuff like that. So a different ball game as well. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know what it is. It's for people from Aberdeen, they hate Glaswegians, man. They just want to rip it right into you. So I end up getting a joiner for Glasgow and putting him up there and getting him to do it. Honestly, that's
just to stay up there for a bit.
It's even must be a Rangers fan. They hate you even more.
I see the point. Of course, you know.
I'm like that. Fair play.
I know. Give surrounded here.
No, I was going to say like on the refurbs, because I have done refurbs for you as well, but there's a few that we've done, and there's one in particular that it went sideways so many times. I just like, I deal with a lot of investors as well, and some of them are new, and I was to bring them the problems I'd brought you.
Yeah.
Some of them might have struggled.
But what was I saying? I said to you,
it's like it's a solutions, not problems, Sean boy. I'm like, right. I said, I'll get it sorted, but I'm just telling you what the issue is first.
I think that's probably been my one that's went most sideways. I think that one.
Oh, thanks.
But at the end of the day, we got it sorted. Like it was.
What was wrong with it?
When I didn't even view it, so any of the ones I bought in the portffolio, I didn't view any of them. Right?
Right,
so I didn't step foot in any of them. I just went on the pictures and stuff like that. So that one, I own the bottom one, which is tenanted, and I own the top one, which is a 3-bed and a 2-bed downstairs. So when we get in, it needed a full shooting match. But when I think I done it wrong, put it that way, and I made the wrong decisions myself. It was not to do with Sean. I made the wrong decisions because I only got Sean into the kitchen and the bathroom. That's what it was. And I was taking care of the rest. That's what we agreed.
Was that the two things that went wrong?
No, that was the two things.
There was that's where the two issues were, but
Not good day with you.
they were all kind of intermingled. But it had wood paneling on the walls, the old wood paneling.
Oof.
And I should have just kept it on and painted it right, because at the end of the day it was a bite light at the time, and I took it off, right. And honestly, what was the walls like when I took it off?
Right,
It was a nightmare.
we were going to keep the paper on stuff, and then we took that off, like replaster, so we went to take the paper off. Took the paper off, it's even worse than behind.
It's even worse.
There's like holes coming off the paper, like you'd thought a minute with a chisel to take that wallpaper off, man. The walls are terrible.
So I was refurbing 5 properties at the one time at that time. So I was like, I said, Sean, I can't afford fucking $4,000 to plaster this full house. You know what I mean? I've got another 5 on the go here. So we made it work. And it got done, and it actually looks minted now. It looks fucking really good now. I got my mate into painting and stuff like that, and he filled a lot of the holes and stuff like that. But it looks fucking minted now.
I think I had a house that it had microbore pipe in it.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, I need to get rid of that. No, it was working perfectly well, right?
So,
it was absolutely, and I said to the guy, first thing to do is to flush that system out, right? And then he told me that actually it was the rust for the microboard that was keeping the system together.
Right.
And as soon as I done it, I flooded downstairs.
We should have just left it. You know what I mean?
It was actually perfect. He
Exactly.
says, and he said to me, mate, there's nothing wrong with this. It's working really good. I'm like, no, let's get the big stuff in. And honestly, and it was like total regret. Same as your panel, and you're like,
Why did I do this?
it actually would look really good if you painted it.
Yeah, and I done the exact same thing on another property, because they were all owned by the same person. So these obviously went in and he's refurbed them all similar back 15 years ago, whatever. And I done the exact same thing, which I wish I never done as well. I was like, but listen, we live and we learn with these things as well. I wouldn't do it again. But it's just, as I said, solutions, no problems. Like if you're dealing with a problem, first thing I think about is, what's the solution to this? How do I get out this the most cost effective way, and obviously the best way that it's looking wise? Because my inclination with that one is to take the wood paneling off, because it will make the property look better, and it'll be, the end value will be higher, basically. Which when I spoke to the surveyor who was in, he's like, that wouldn't have probably made a difference, to be honest with you. I'm like, thanks for telling me that. Fucking hell, man.
She got you to do the refurb.
Exactly, man. I said, do you know what's happened in the past fucking 4 weeks, man?
I think a lot of the time, you might go into a property and you get a wee bit emotional with it, and you think, if I lived here, I'd want that off.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what I done, Stephen. I think that was my first thought. I was like, nah, I want that off. The walls need to be smooth, you know what I mean? And then I was like, once it did come off, I was like, fucking wish I never done this.
There's a bit of pride in it as well, because if it's your own portfolio, for example, like you like maybe most of the essays and stuff, but you've got your own standard of that's like somebody, like for me, I kind of look at it going, oh, that's such and such's property, because they always do the same colour themes or the same sort of flooring or whatever.
I'm the same, you know what I mean? You like my flooring, didn't you?
I did. I sort of stole it a couple of times.
So many people asked me where I got it from. I actually just bought another 100 square metres.
That's it's always running out, because you're
exactly
buying all
what
the time. The reason I talked on mindset, because I think when you're doing refurbs, you're doing portfolio purchases, buying blind pretty much.
Yep.
And if you're raising finance and using other people's money, people need to know that they're giving that money to somebody who can handle the shit
100%.
that goes on. Because it's fine giving somebody your money the best world in the world, because the numbers work out. This is the refurb cost, this is the refurb breakdown.
Yep.
But when shit hits the fan, are you going to be able to pull me at this hole and protect my money? And obviously, if you're raising finance, which I think you are.
Aye. So the more, as what I've learned now, the more experience, the more you can show people what you're doing, basically. Like dealing with social media and stuff like that, if you're showing people what you're doing, you're going to get more investors on board. I've just took another couple on board there, paid off the previous ones. Had a guy, I was paying him $1,000 a month, basically. He invested me to help me buy the portfolio. He was happy with that, and I paid him back. And just showcasing what you're doing will attract people. Like I'll put a post out and I'll have like 2 or 3 messages saying, I'm up for investing, or how does it work, basically. And then you just kind of explain it to people. And even if it's not $50 grand or $100 if it's $20 grand, you know what I mean? It still helps towards refurbs. And if you're showing people like your numbers and stuff like that, like the 2 deals I've just done, if you're showing people you're getting all money out, people are going to rather invest in you than invest in somebody else, basically. If you're showing people this is how this works, and then people start, it's a light bulb moment for some people. Like, I want to get involved in this, and I'm like, right, let's show you how to do it, basically, you know what I mean?
A lot of people are quite scared of social media, aren't they? Like getting their because you're quite good on social media, like getting on your face on camera, speaking about deals, speaking about what you're actually doing. But I think that's a big catalyst for where you are now, like being able to use social media to raise finance, to find deals, and
100%. You know what I mean? Like, I raised finance being on the Scottish Property Podcast. came home for that the next day. Somebody phoned me. Somebody messaged me and says to me, I want to invest in you. Let's get a call tomorrow. I listened to you in the Scottish Property Podcast. So if I wasn't on that, it's kind of domino effect. If I wasn't on that, I wouldn't have raised that amount of money because it was a lot of money and I wouldn't have been able to buy that portfolio. So that's 3 different things, like 3 big moments that's happened that's kind of spurred me on, basically.
And I think that's a key sentence. I want to invest in you.
I was about to say
He's
that.
not even got a deal yet.
Exactly.
You probably had something there sitting, but like he doesn't know what you've got to invest in yet. It's on you, your personality, your kind of mindset.
And that's
funny enough, I was talking to Stephen Clark last night, funny enough, exactly about this, and he was like, it's all about personal brand.
Aye, 100%.
And it's your personal brand that people are buying into, aren't they? They're not buying into something that's out there. It's just they listen to you, they probably can recognise you, they go, right,
that's the thing. And if you're genuine, it goes back to the sales thing. If you're genuine, then people's more likely to invest in you or trust you or want to work with you, basically, if you're a genuine person. Whereas if you see it sometimes on Instagram and stuff like that as well, on Facebook, like people are putting up these deals and stuff like that, you're just like, that's a load of shit, you know what I mean? You can tell that's fucking, and the thing that gets me as well, like people, Stephen, you'll see it as well, with like serviced accommodation numbers, right? You'll see this is the thing that gets me. I'll get people who'll bring me the deals, because like I'm asking a few people for service accommodation deals now, but people who are bringing me service accommodation deals have never had a service accommodation, right? And they're like, oh, the nightly rate's £160, and I'm like, right, okay, but have you taken the 18.5% for Airbnb off? Have you taken the 15 or 18% for the management fee off, which is over 30%? Oh no, I'm like, well, it's not £160 a night, mate. It's £100 a night. You know what I mean? So
there's furniture in it. Is there internet?
So that all money out in 24 months is now all money out in 60 months. You know what I mean? So it's things like that, which again, having experience and being in the game and actually doing things like serviced accommodation and being in fucking see what's happening, that's where you learn the most, basically.
I think serviced accommodation is one of those tricky ones, because there is like, you do a buy to let, albeit the tenant pays, you're getting £800 a month every month.
Yep.
Whereas SA is like, it can be very seasonal.
Yeah.
Like just now you're probably feeling a bit of kind of tightness around the numbers on December, February time, January.
Yep.
But then during the summer months it's maybe booming. But when somebody, like again, I've seen SA deals come to me because I'm looking for man investors as well, and we'll do the same thing. I'll break it down and go, you've actually missed like licensing, like he's all your money in, like, well, where's the furniture money, where's the the broker fee, where's the licensing fee?
5 or 6 grand to furnish it, you know what I mean?
On that council you're up to 9 months to get a license if you factor in holding costs for 9 months, but it's sitting empty doing nothing. So a lot of them don't do that, and it's like you say, you're 160. And they might do have a put in 15% for management. They're like, cool, what about your fixed bills? What about your Wi-Fi? And have you paid for Netflix? It's all wee things. All the
people are doing is they're going into property market intel, seeing the figure and putting on a spreadsheet. That's all they're doing, basically. And property market intel, people rely on a lot. I don't. See what I look at, right? And this is, I don't know if I'm the only person that does it. Like, I'll see, like, I was looking at one the other day. Where was it again? It was in Livingston. And it was a 3-bed. Decent. It was a house, so I was looking at it, and rather than going to proper market intel, I went on Airbnb, just typed in Livingston to see what it was about and how much people were charging and how many houses were in about that area and what was the average kind of cost on it. There was ones at 150 a night, there was ones at £100 a night. So you know if you're roughly how much you're getting, rather than going on to seeing property market intel. Don't get me wrong, there will be some kind of truth to it, but I think actually looking at Airbnb itself, it's proofs in the pudding. It's right there in front of you, you know what I mean? So
plus property market intel doesn't take into the fact that direct bookings, I think it takes in some sites, doesn't take in all of them. I don't know if it takes in like booking.com and it only takes in Airbnb. There's 1 and 2. But
I also think it's more centred towards England. There's a lot of the facts.
It's about how much is there and all that. But I do the same. Like somebody sends me a screenshot of property market intel with a wee graph.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I'll go and do the same. I'll customise the properties that it's showing you as the comparables. And it's like you've got a 3-bedroom. Cool, it's a 3-bedroom, but that's a bloody cottage with a hot tub and like all that land. It's different. So I'll do that. I'll look at price labs as well.
Yep. Price labs,
and I'll speak to a few SA managers that I know, and we'll like, Jack, this is roughly right, and go, actually, you maybe this on average because of X, Y, and Z.
That's the best thing to do. You know what I mean? Ask about just knowing, but I think
trying to rent them yourself. If you, as you say, if you go to Airbnb and you look it up and say, I want to rent on a Wednesday night in Auchtermuchty. Do you know what I mean? Well, I get £230
you know what your
a night.
comparables are if that's the case, then you know what I mean. So again, I think it's the best way to do it.
I had a guy I'm JVing with, he's desperate to JV on SA, and he keeps coming up with deals, and he sent me this one on Monday and we phoned about it, and it was in Gourock, four different places. So we want to essay the 4 of them.
Yep.
And he goes, great. And they were just absolute shit tips.
Yep.
Right.
With the apartments, or as you can do, kind of service apartments and stuff like that.
And I was like, the problem is, he goes, and look, I've worked out the numbers, and this is going to look out, it looks as though by the time we get insurance and by the time we mortgage it and stuff like that, it'll probably cost us, I think it was like $2,500.
Yep.
He goes, never done. We can move. And I'm like,
no, not really.
well, they're all 2 beds, so that's 8 beds worth of furniture you're going to need.
Yep.
I was like, 4 Wi-Fi, 4 Netflix, 4 security, 4 cleaners, 4 Airbnb costs, 4 management costs. I was like, and as soon as you start, he had them, and he was like,
It brings it down.
right, will we rent these each for $210 a night? I was like, not a hope in hell. Not a hope in hell. I was like, you might get 80. And he was like, and it was exactly that. I just looked up. I says, look, here's one's nice 3-bed for 80.
So you need to look at it.
And I think that's it. People get a wee bit excited because they see a first number and they go, same with rent to SA is the exact same. People go, I can rent this for $2,000. I'll rent it out for $2,000. Sorry, I'll buy the rent for $2,000 and then I will rent it out for $3,000. I've made $1,000. I'm like, £900 for your furniture, mate. I was like, Netflix.
And the rest, you know what I mean?
Costs, charges.
You need to look at it over a 12-month period. See, with service accommodation, it needs to go over a 12-month period. You can't just look at it month to month. You keep on top of it and look what's happening. But if you look and you've grossed 36 grand in a year or whatever for one property, but you're 10 grand for the other property, you know what I mean? You just level them out. Obviously, I'm in a good position now. I've got a few, but my one in St Andrews was the first one I bought, and that's not doing very well, but because it's seasonal. Whereas I thought it done amazing, and it's worth like 310 grand now. So it's a big mortgage on that one. I think the mortgage is like 210 or something like that. But that's not doing very well, which I thought it would. But the other ones are leveling it out, and I will keep that. I've changed my kind of full strategy on that one as well. Obviously, it's an interest only just now, so when it comes up, I'm going to just do it to a pay down mortgage. Right. So obviously, the capital will appreciate up there, and obviously the mortgage will come down. And if I make a couple £100 a month on that, I'll be happy because
wipe your face with it. Do you know what I mean?
Wipe my face with it because it is seasonal. In from March to September it does well, but the other months is just rubbish. Like, I've nobody in it now.
Just waiting for the opening to go back there, aren't you?
Exactly. That's why I bought it. 2027 man can work. 10 grand a week, man. 10 grand a week. But it's one I'll just keep as long as the mortgage is getting paid. And it's fine. You know what I mean? You're going to stay in it a couple of weeks.
Is that what I'm staying in?
That's what you're staying in. So
I'll give you a good review, don't you worry.
Thank you very much.
Aye, for a pint and a packet of crisps.
That's more than the last person got.
No, good. I was going to say about, I kind of brushed over it, but you were talking about, obviously you've got a young family, you've got your wife, you've got the van business, you're obviously in property all the time. Is there stuff that you do? Because I'm interested in this kind of stuff because I struggle with time sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're saying you're obviously like maybe time poor, but is there like daily habits you do that help you every single day because you've got a lot on? Even coming here for giving up an hour is probably, you're like, fuck, that's a lot. That's an hour you give up plus the travel, like shit, I need to go and catch up now. Like, is there daily habits you do?
There's no like some like I'm not kind of ritual and I do everything. Basically, I'll go to the gym every morning, right? And that, you know yourself, that gets you going. So all of a sudden the juices are flowing, you know what's happening. Have a coffee, and then I set my day up. Just do the same thing every morning, and then I know what I'm doing for the next day. So like for talking's sake, if it's to do with property, I don't really do stuff in between. I don't do between 9 to 5 because it just takes up too much and my head ends up fried with it. Unless I really need to, if it's solicitors or deals or whatever else. That's where I get a few other people working with me basically. If you can go and see that, make it, the two can make money out of it, it's fine. But with that, I wouldn't say I've got a set kind of, if you break it up and go weekly, on a Sunday night, I'll set my goals out for the week for property and vans, and I'll say, right, I need to do this, and this. Then I need to achieve this. For both, I always do it. I've always done it. But it's daily, I don't have something I do every day. It's just weekly, I do, monthly, I do, and annually, I do for goals and stuff like that. So it's just, it's you're trying to juggle things. So like, you know yourself, you've got young kids and all that, you can't just put on it, right, I'm doing this that day, because if the young ones know well or something like that, that's totally at the plan. Whereas if you do it over the week, then you've got a couple of days to tick the boxes off, you know what I mean?
No, good.
But time management touch on that as well, Sean. I struggle with it as well. It's no easy, especially when you've got so much on. Like, I'm working during the day and I'm trying to deal with property, and I'm now dealing with as many properties I've got now. It's no easy, you know what I mean? Service accommodation isn't easy at the start as well, as well as dealing with like flips and whatever else and assisted sales at the same time. So time management is massive, and if you can get that down to a T, then you'll win all day basically. Because it's something I'm kind of trying to like delve into and try to make better, because it's, you know, yourself, it can affect family, it can affect everything else, but it's all for the cause, isn't it? You're just trying to make everything work and get all the cogs working in the right way, aren't you?
Yeah.
What is the goal?
The goal is, for me, I've got many goals, you know what I mean, but like long term is just to kind of not retire early, but to kind of live a life that you don't really need to worry about it, you know what I mean? It's like like you'll see people like themselves, like they see the shiny penny and they just, I'm going to spend all sorts on this, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to buy this, you know what I mean? Just hold
I've gone the magpie later.
No, hang on a second, that's an ADHD thing.
I get that, and I've been told I've got ADHD as well, and don't get me wrong, you do it sometimes, but you kind of need to rein it in a wee bit and just kind of look towards the kind of, whereas when I first got into this, I was like, right, okay, the long term goal is retire with 60, 65. Now that year keeps coming down as the years go on, you know what I mean? I keep getting closer and closer to that, but again, it's just, as I said, my full strategy's changed. I used to want hundreds of units. I'm like, I want 100 units, I want 50 units, blah blah blah, but I don't anymore. I just want decent cash flow, decent properties, decent in a decent area, capital appreciation, you know what I mean? That's massive for me now. So yeah, my strategy's changed, and it probably will change again in the next couple of years for whatever will happen. Just need to kind of go with the flow, basically.
I was going to ask that kind of question. It's probably a good lead into it. Like, where does your ideal portfolio look in the next 5 years? And are you doing certain things to get there? Like, is it going to be focused on, because you mentioned there a couple of things, you're still doing buy-to-lets, you've got essays, you're still doing flips, assisted sales, which are completely different strategies. Like, do you have a kind of 5-year portfolio plan? Like, I would have X amount of cash flow or X amount of assets, or?
I just want to grow every year, basically. See, if I'm adding 5-6 properties a year, then I'll be happy with that, you know what I mean? And it's end of the day, last year I added 15 added last year alone, so I'm not saying I'm going to mirror that this year, because you kind of, if you buy that many, like if I'm working full time, you kind of need to clean up behind yourself as well. So I'm kind of cleaning up behind myself and getting everything running properly, or the buy-to-lets, everything else, while dealing with flips and stuff like that as well. So you kind of need to kind of clear up behind yourself and just kind of steady the ship again, and then go again. As I said, the good thing for me there was with the budget, they never took away the ADS relief, basically, because I had a worry that I was going to happen. I was like, I'm just going to buy 1 or 2 now, whereas I've not took that away. So I'm just kind of building my pot up again. I've got some refinances happening, and my goal is to kind of buy another portfolio this year, and hopefully they don't take it away next year.
Do you see?
You've got another year.
Exactly. I know. I see. I think everybody kind of felt like, right, they might leave the ADS rate where it is, but take away the MDR, multiple dwelling relief for portfolios. I think they've done it in England, haven't they?
They have.
They're going to follow suit. When they never, I think a lot of investors went, oh, they might do it next year.
Exactly.
Let's just look for portfolios now while we can. So do you see a big influx? Well, I think a lot of investors like yourself who have got some anyway and have the appetite for portfolios or bigger ones are doing that anyway, but I think you see a more increase of appetite for it this year.
100%. Like, that's what you hear kicking about the news, like portfolios and stuff like that, but it's finding the decent ones, you know what I mean? Again, I'm not just going to jump into something that's like you're going to leave a fortune into it as well, you know what I mean? Because there is a lot of money when you're dealing with these. They're a lot of money, and you can lose a lot of money in them as well. Like the one I bought with 12 in a row the one time was massive. Again, like, a lot of people wouldn't have the balls to do that, especially I'm not saying I was mega experienced, because I wasn't at the time, but again, I just thought, fuck it, let's go for it, man. Here's I've got the investor finance, I've got some more money, my numbers worked to a T, and actually some get refurbed, and I think I bought that for 1.1 million or something. That's now worth 1.5 million. So it's wee things like that, but it's knowing your numbers again. We go back to the sales again. If somebody found that deal themselves, they wouldn't have been able to carry on with that, because some people don't really know the numbers. They wouldn't have the balls. There's so many different working parts for that. They don't have the network. They don't have people they can lean on for their bridging or their brokerage, stuff like that. So the end numbers again as well. I got the end numbers right down to a T as well, because I've worked hard with surveyors, and I can lean on some people like that, you know what I mean? So again,
And
so
confidence in it.
it gives you confidence getting out it basically.
And just for I just want to ask on the portfolio, because again, don't be giving names or dark secrets or anything like that, but how did you find that portfolio to the point, or was it I know that you got investors through the podcast, but how did you find it?
So the deal itself, it was just telling people that I was looking for a portfolio at the time. So I done
simply asking you about
but that wasn't even in property, it was in my van sales business. So I was speaking to one of my customers and I was saying to him, he was like, "Oh, Tony, I'm looking at this portfolio." And I was like, "Well, I'm looking for one as well." He's like, "Well, I'll give you the guy's number." And but you know what it's like, you don't think these people are going to phone you or anything like that, you know what I mean? But sure as hell, the guy phoned me the next day and he says, "I've got this one, that one, this one." I says, "Well, can I pick 6 for that one, 6 for that one and put them together?" And he said, "Aye, sure you can." And then, no, sorry, I agreed 6 to start with. We agreed the numbers and stuff like that. And I says, "Well, what if I take another 6? Will you give me extra discount off the first lot as well?" And he's like, "Aye." So just put 12 together. And they're all good stock. It's all houses, a couple of flats, but they're all big flats as well. Sean's been in a couple of them. But they're all decent stock. One's in Edinburgh, one's in Whitburn, one's in Linlithgow. Some in Glasgow as well.
That's phenomenal. Sometimes you've got to question how people are selling them, but then they might have like reasons about retire.
It's when you take the paneling off the wall, you understand.
Dead bodies behind it.
And that's my worry, and I think the sellers' worry was they were going bankrupt or something like that. But they had loads of that. And that was just me speaking to somebody from the van side, and he passed me on the lead. He bought some as well. I think he bought like 16 or something off them as well. So
it's a big portfolio.
It's a big portfolio to get rid of, but it's worked out well for me.
Does due diligence, probably say that wrong, does that change the portfolios for you? Because if it's a single buy to let, if you go back to that first one, you go and see it. But if it's 12, 13 units, you're not going to get around all 12, 13. And if they're tenanted, that's going to be an absolute disaster to actually go and see them all. So do you... I know a lot of that was blind. Are you just looking at numbers and trusting his view on it, or do you go and pick a few to look at and then trust the rest?
They sent, I had over 400 photos of the properties sent to me. So I had a look through all them, done my numbers. Knew they give you a kind of refurb breakdown as well, what needs done. Knowing what I can do the refurb for, comparing it to their costs. Just working the end numbers, speaking to surveyors. I spoke to 3 different surveyors for the full 12 properties, and kind of took the average kind of number. Obviously done my own numbers, and then basically I got to the end value what I thought it was going to be, and that's what it came out at with the lenders. And it's dealing with the lenders as well. Like the main lender I deal with is I always deal with them now, so they know who I am now. So it's kind of easier getting in and out of deals, which is another thing that a lot of people wouldn't know either. I've gave them the 12 properties. But there's more to that deal as well. It wasn't just straightforward to just get in and out, and you've accumulated 400 grand worth of equity. It's not as easy as that, you know what I mean? There was ups and downs and ins and outs, and lost my hair. Had hair before that, by the way.
I don't believe you.
Before that portfolio, I had hair.
A few wee strands, but I'm
Homer Simpson.
Maybe that's a good reason why people shouldn't get portfolios.
That'll put people off. No, but listen, it was, you know yourself, you're buying 12 houses, you know, and there's going to be issues, and there's going to be things when you're buying it and stuff like that as well. So, but I think it's massive. If you want to go and reach heights, you need to buy a portfolio. But again, it's people are scared of it, but it's just like buying an individual property times 12, you know what I mean? But it's 12, so it's 12 fees, 12 bridging fees, 12 broker fees, 12 solicitor fees, 12 bridging solicitors fees. So it's mental. The fees are like fortunes, but once you get your head around that and you understand it, and if the numbers work, then just go.
It's just out the numbers, isn't it? Like really, it's just like it's a single unit, like you say, it's a single unit. It's got numbers. It's just bigger numbers now.
100%.
It's just extra zeros in there.
Extra zeros, and you're just times everything by 12, basically.
And there is more risk, and I think with portfolios, because it's investor to investor, you do tend to find a bit of a discount there because they understand. Like if you try and get resi, a lot of them don't really understand. Maybe sometimes don't understand that they maybe don't want too much about the house, but investor to investor, they know like they've had their time with these properties. They're selling for a reason. Their exit's there. They can move on, and then you can start yours. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is. But again, it's just having the balls to do these things. You know what I mean? A lot of people shy away from it, and it's the people who's got the balls who you'll see flying on Instagram and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And
that's the same with the bridge thing as well. And I'm going to go and get a bridge for 12 properties. Okay, shut my eyes and rip that boarding off.
Hope for the best.
It'll be fine.
Hope for the best.
There's either gold or dead bodies behind it.
Oh, big time, man.
I know you're in your health, so you'll enjoy these, Tony.
Here we go, man.
This will be really good for you.
Just for them does not absolutely hate fucking
This'll
these
keep
things. I don't like spice.
Ginger.
Keep you regular,
And you
as they say.
get some good screenshots of my face for
Good
this. So.
screenshot, I know. Here we go, man.
It's beautiful. Cheers, you have to down it.
Cheers, guys. Cow.
Oh, I managed to spell it everywhere.
Oh,
Actually, wasn't too bad, by the way.
I hate
Vitamin
it.
C. Oh, wanted vitamin D
I've
there.
got a walk.
It's got about a 15-minute turnaround.
Fucking hell, I ended up waiting when I got here. You right, Sean, boy?
No. When we do 3 in a day, I need to take 3.
Fucking hell.
Game. Oh my god, it sticks.
It's good. It's good for lungs.
Right, yes.
Always looking
And
for
then-
that short sponsor.
So you're going to do more portfolios, more essays.
Aye, that's the short term goal now. Just I'm not into kind of buy lets. The one I've got has fucking it's caught my throat. No, the one at the back, the one I've had agreed for 2024, that'll be a buy to let, and so the other one will money out. But I'm predominantly looking for essays and stuff like that now. I'm not in a massive rush now to buy it, and I've got a couple of things ongoing now. I've got one out in Falkirk I'm refurbing just now, that'll be an essay, and then I've got the assisted sale I've got, so I'm working it now, so I've got stuff on, but I'm not in a massive rush because opportunity will arise.
I think the thing with essays as well is that people think of essays like St Andrews,
Yeah, that's exactly
right?
100%.
But people don't go, well, BP Grangemouth, so I'll get an essay there, and you're like that. Yeah, but nobody's going to want to go away for a week to Grangemouth, and you're like that. No, but workers are going to want to come and stay somewhere they work there.
And that's why that's the one I've just got just outside, just 8 minutes for Grangemouth at that station, and that's a free bed, and I'm refurbing that, aimed towards contractors going there basically. So it will work because I've got the one on the Lithgow as well. That's
You made that essay in the end, didn't you?
Right,
The funny one with that, I know. So I was doing the refurb for that one, driving up, and it was alright condition.
It's
To be fair, it was like bathroom and touch up and stuff like that.
I ripped off the walls and that the boards and that there was in that one as well.
That was a.
Fucking-
That was a.
that was
aye.
a as well,
You must
man.
have a big like claw hammer somewhere. You're like,
It was A2. It was obviously owned by the same person, so it was a bit of a nightmare.
We were doing the bathroom, right? And we're trying to find the valve to get the water got back on. It's been turned off. We tried to turn it back on to test the pressure and all that kind of stuff for the bathroom. And we're trying to find it, and it was a valve, and we found it in the bedroom. And it was my dad who was doing the bathroom for us. And he phoned me going, Sean, you've got an issue? Oh, fuck, man, what is it, man? This is starting one of Tony's. Can't keep bringing him issues. He's like, so I can see the sky. I'm like, that's brilliant. Are you outside? He's like, no, I'm in the bedroom. He's like, what can you see the sky from the bedroom?
you're like through the window.
So there's like a hatch in the ceiling in the bedroom, and above that was, I think, the water tank, and that's where the valve was. But above the water tank, there was like this kind of part of
The
the
skylight.
roof.
It was a skylight. It was a box
Aye.
in the roof basically that had blown over.
And it'd been
So-
on for absolute like weeks, probably months. I don't know how long it's been like. Because we just had a bad storm, didn't we?
Because he's like to me, "Oh, you need to. It's going to be raining tomorrow. You need to get somebody out there now." I was like, "Solutions, not problem, Sean. Come on."
That's to the point I'm like, right, I know
you
he's
got
got
a
a good
step ladder,
mindset.
Sean?
Exactly, massive. We get your ass up in that roof and get it sorted.
So I was like, I think we had a few days. We figured it was a week of like nice weather,
And
and then
it's
it
going to be raining.
would to turn, and eventually you got your mate to get it
I
sorted.
got
but
a roof for it there just to go and fix it. But all it was is it just fell on its side and you had to put it back up. When you took a step back, all the roofs all had them. And that was a bit of a roller coaster, that one as well. I'd originally to refurb that and sell it at auction and give it a light refurb, sell it at auction because it was non-standard construction, so that didn't really fit my strategy or whatever. I wanted to keep it in my portfolio, so that was my original plan. And then I didn't sell at auction. I didn't get what I wanted for it. So I spent more money on it, doing a bit more refurb to it, and then sold it, tried to sell it to a estate agent. So it never happened there either. So didn't get what I wanted for it. So I've just kind of flipped it, spent more money on it now, refinanced it, and then I've just took as much money as I think I got 100 odd grand back out of it as well. So
It's an essay now, is it?
it's an
essay.
essay now. Yep.
So you're making money on it.
Make money on it.
And do
should
you
be there
JV as well then?
What's that?
Do people approach you to JV or do you
I've
just
had,
do
I've
it
had a
by
couple
yourself?
of people, yeah. I'm working with a couple of people just now, JVing as well. It's just it's a good strategy to use, especially if they bring you the deal. This one they brought the deal to me, and then we're just 50-50 on it basically. It's an assisted sale. I kind of dwindled the assisted sale with the seller. He brought me the actual property, and I dwindled the assisted sale with the seller, and then we're half in it just now. So that'll be a good one.
So you're open to more JVs if people.
100%.
I'm not straight to camera. But
yeah. No, yeah, 100%. Even I like working with people, so because you're learning off people as well. There's people doing kind of more than you. I always kind of aim to work with people who's doing more than me as well, but I'm happy to help people as well. Like I've got people who'll come to me with money like, I don't want to invest in you, but I want to do something with you basically, and we'll go 50-50, but I need you to lead, and I'm like, well, that's kind of all you, that's all, or what am I getting in this basically? So but I do. I've worked with a few JVs, and they've worked out brilliant. You know what I mean? It's kind of straightforward, easy process. As long as you're splitting everything 50-50, and everybody's happy with that. As long as again, it goes back to we're on it for the same thing. There's plenty of money out there to be made by everybody. You know what I mean? So you see people pinching every penny they can get, but it's just everybody's fucking in it for the same thing. Just fucking relax and let's make money together.
Exactly. Well, because of time as well, but I've got a few other kind of quick fire questions.
Oh,
so. Maybe touched on some of them already, but worst deal you've ever had in 10 seconds and why?
The one in Aberdeen, because I bought it when I was on holiday and didn't understand the market in Aberdeen, and I got a zero valuation when I came to refinance it. And, so that was probably the worst one. But again, on the flip side, it's turned out not bad because
don't buy properties when you're steaming on holiday because you'll get a zero valuation.
100%. You know what I mean?
And especially if it's in Aberdeen, make sure you're sober to make
exactly. And then it's a trip up and down.
Don't they due diligence if you're steaming?
Exactly.
That's another one
because you can't even say it. You're steaming.
And one property myth you wish would die.
ChatGPT's getting an absolute tanking.
That wished would die.
And that's a bit of a weird question.
I know.
But,
sorry.
Maybe one property myth you hate hearing all the time, or like there's always ones like the unicorn deal. Everybody wants a unicorn deal. That's what the only deals are after. But there's different strategies that can fit. Like
there's no flips. People always go. There's no flips available.
Kind of deals on the market.
Nobody gets money back. There's another one.
I don't deal with on the market stuff. It's just not for me. You know what I mean? A lot of people say, "Oh, deal with on the market, but it's just not for me." You see a lot of people complaining about off market stuff, but I only deal with off market stuff. I don't deal with your on market at all. One, because I don't have any time for it. Two, I kind of be dealing with estate agents, and three, I just think it's a long-winded process. You know what I mean? For 9 times out of 10, you don't even get into it. You know yourself. You see people in these groups, and they're like, this could be answer the question. I see people coming into like sourcing and stuff like that into the chats, and they're like, "Oh, I've got 11 viewings booked for today," and I'm like, why are you doing 11 viewings? You know what I mean? Why are you doing 11 viewings in 11 different properties all on the market? Because you're going to get 9 times out of 10 you're going to get zero. It's simple as that. Now, off market stuff, you're direct to the vendor, you're building rapport with the seller, sorry. You're building rapport with the actual seller, and it gives you a chance to be in their living room, standing with them, shaking their hand, rather than going through an estate agent, rather than wasting time, rather than going to viewings with another 10 people behind you, and you're not going to get it basically. Like the one me and you were going to JV on, remember? Just before Christmas, we put a bid in at closing date. Now, I've not put a bid in at closing date since I bought my own house. Right, and I just don't do it since I bought my own residential property. Right. I just don't do it. Sean's like, "Oh, we'll put this in at closing date," and I'm like, "Closing date, man, fuck that shit."
What's that?
Exactly. But
you're like, do you know, you get him a pint of lager, packet of crisps,
and then they were emailing us back, fucking, and then like, "Oh, it's closed on the Monday. You need to wait till Tuesday." And I'm like, "What's happening? It's Tuesday." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not coming back till Wednesday." I'm like, "We've just wasted a week. Could have bought 2 properties in that's a waste of time." You
could do that. It's like that whole for the sales side of things. Like you get the buyer's remorse and the seller's regret, and then we'll get that kind of buyer's remorse. Like, well, we fucking biddy too much for this both weekend.
That's a nightmare.
Because they sent us an email saying, "Oh, can you sort your AML and stuff like that?" So we're like, "Oh, we've got this." And then this was
as if it was sorted.
But this was like the Saturday, and then I was like, "It's Wednesday, and we've still not heard anything back. What's going on here?" And we've got it, and then we started planning refurbs on it, and it turns out we never got it. We're at ninth in the fucking in the queue.
Like, all right,
but there's nothing worse than see if you bin it, and then you kind of go, "And was that quite a good bid?" And they go, "Yeah, you were a high bid," and you're like, "Fucking bastard."
I know, exactly.
Like raging.
I went too much. That's what we're even saying about it, wasn't we? So
I was. I think the thing with the viewings as well is, so I also do on market stuff as well as off market stuff. I think at the very beginning, if you are starting out, it's important to get to viewings to run numbers.
Of course, yeah.
But like you're saying, like if you're booking 11 viewings, you're like, do you have a plan for these? Are you just going to viewings to post on social media? Because it's fine saying you got the viewings, which is good, but are you actually going to run numbers on it? Are you going to put an offer in just to go through the experience and emotion of putting in an offer?
No, don't get me wrong. At the start, do go for viewings, but don't start going for 11 viewings in one day, because it's 9 times out of 10
you will burn out.
Exactly, and the properties are all similar. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get either. They're different, but in the grand scheme of things, 2 3 bedrooms. They're all the kind of similar shape. The roofs, non-standard construction or standard construction. But back, front door, front garden, so it's all similar, you know what I mean? So going for 11 viewings, you're just going to burn out, and I think it's a complete waste of time. Like, you'll see people that are 6 months in, we've got another 9 viewings tomorrow, we've got 10 next day, and I'm like, mate, you're just wasting time.
I think that's a metric, that's almost like a vanity metric in it. I've got these viewings booked in. I do it as well, like posting off-market viewings, which is fine. It's just your like social media stuff to say, but it's like cool.
Yeah,
how many offers are you putting in?
Look how busy I am doing nothing.
Exactly, 100%. It's like the busy fool. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it is, and you're not really getting anywhere. You need to get into the stuff that's making you money and stuff that you're going to get money out of, basically.
I seen somebody a couple of days ago, and he was on a group. It's like a Stirling-based group, and he was on this, and he was advertising his property. He's like, great deal, and he's obviously new in, and the link for the deal was Rightmove. And I actually phoned him up, and I was like, listen, can I just have 2 minutes of your time, mate? I was like, you're advertising a deal on Rightmove. Firstly, everybody can see that deal. Secondly, nobody's going to deal with you because they're going to click on the Rightmove, and if they want it, they're going to buy it themselves.
Exactly.
I was like, that's kind of like worse than on market. Exactly. That's like the worst ever. What are you doing?
Just like, I've made this offer, it's been accepted. I'd take a formal offer in, or it kill me, I was going to do $2,000 more.
You see, like, it all the time.
You put yourself at risk.
You do see it all the time. People are trying, you know what I mean? You can see people are trying, but you can't just keep throwing shite and hoping it sticks, you know what I mean? It's you need to have a path, you need to have something that's solid and something that's going to work for you, you know what I mean? No things like that, that's just fucking, it's mental. MD can go for it, you know what I mean? But again, I thinking about it, right, I had one, this Sosa boy, I'll find this boy. I had this Sosa boy. Well, thought it was Sosa. This was when I first started. He's like, right, I've got this property. It's on the south side. You need to give me 200 quid to secure it. Here's the price on it, right? I transferred him 200 quid. Right, and I'm like, see, as soon as I done it, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. What am I doing? When air, right? He wasn't there. I chapped the door. There's a guy in Painting House. I was like, such and such, and he's like, nah. And I was like, fuck, some. So then I checked it. A couple of months later. So I was hunting for this boy, sending him messages, sending this guy pictures of his own house and all that, saying, I know where he's staying on. Right, this boy, sorry, this was, see if I see him, man, he's getting done, man. But honestly, I was raging with this. 200 quid, but at the time it was like fucking.
I think it's 200 quid. It's the point.
It doesn't matter if it was a fiver.
It's a fact. You know what I mean? He's done that. He's an absolute scumbag. You know what I mean? So, but I chapped the door. But then I checked the land registry a couple of months later, and it had just been bought the week before that I went to that viewing, man. So somebody's obviously told him about it, and he's just like, fuck it, I'll just take 200 quid off this point and send them there. That's exactly what I done. Felt like an absolute spare prick.
I think that's the important thing, is there is a lot of kind of idiots like that in there, but there's a lot of good folk that want to help you as well.
Exactly.
There's a few fucking snakes.
I was viewing one in Floorboard, and the property was fine, but I didn't want it, and I kind of says, look, I'm not going to do it, and I put it back onto a group, and then somebody messaged me for the same group, but added £400 onto the price,
you see that,
and then added $2,000 onto the sourcing fee as well. And the strange thing is, I says, have you been to this house? And they were like, no. I was like, definitely. And he goes, no, sorry, I have been. I was like, what does the front door look like? And he goes, well, it's a gate and it's a door. And I said to him, is there anything else in this front that you would notice? And they were like, no. You've definitely been to it? Yep. I says, on the left-hand side of the door is a 6-foot tiger, and on the right-hand ornament, and on the right-hand side is a Chinese dragon. You have to go side on to get through the door. Did you notice that? And he was like, yeah. I was like, you've not been to this house. No. You just added money.
You see that all the time. I see you talking about it all the time. Like you see, like that.
It just winds me up, because I don't mind people making money if they do the graft and they work for it, but I don't like people that are just jumping on the back of somebody else.
No.
I was going to say those last 2 questions by the time, but so you talk about, like, obviously when you get in to educate yourself, always constantly learning. Kind of best book or podcast that's maybe influenced you to progress, or one that you always kind of go back to, something like that.
Apart from under the floorboard, obviously.
Of course. It's always the same, but it's like it's the old cliche. It's the rich dad, poor dad, isn't it? Yeah. And to be fair, everybody's bang on. That's what changed my mindset. That was a massive change in my mindset. But it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But again, I say to everybody again, like people come to me like, how did you get started? How did you do this? How did you do that? Just learn podcasts every day, and I'm still doing it to this day. Podcasts, read books. I'm trying to read more books, but said to myself I was going to read more books this year, but I've not done it. But again, reading books, there's loads of them. Obviously, the Hormozy books is really well. If you're into sales, I've got the 3 of them. I've only read 2 of them. You could read them 10 times over. Obviously, the Robert Kiyosaki, his other books as well, they're all good as well. So I've got another 2 of them as well. But again, it's just learning every day, and people will get into this and they'll stop learning, you know what I mean? But even the people at the top are still learning every day.
And what sort of podcasts are you listening to?
I listen to this one as well. I listen to a couple of these ones. Scottish Property Podcast. What's the other ones I listen to? I've listened to Colin Campbell's listened to a few of his as well. He's got a few good guests. I listen to a few sales ones as well, but Scottish Property Podcast, you can't really go wrong with that, you know what I mean? It's people who you know as well. It's people that you have been on it as well. I've been on it, so it's people who you know, and like and are all in the property community. So it's and 9 times out of 10 the people are all doing well with it, you know what I mean? Or they wouldn't be on it.
Aye.
Listen, I would do what I thank you for your time. Obviously, cautious, you've got probably a million things run through your head to go and get to. But if people want to reach out to you to joint venture, invest in you, invest in your projects, bring you deals, bring your portfolios, where can they best get you?
So I'm on Instagram. It's the one I'm most active on. It's just Tony_Carrigan_property. So just message me on there. As I said, I'll get back to you for a couple of minutes, as I'm always on my phone. So if I don't, there's something wrong because I'm a salesman. Come on.
As well.
100%. But again, that was good, boys.
Fantastic.
Thanks very much, mate.
Thanks
again, guys.
Cheers then. Thanks, bye.